Good morning. Thank you for joining VirtualPBX admin training for our Dash platform. I'm going to give people a couple more minutes to get in, just to give them a chance. So if you can just hold tight. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, this is for our Dash platform. If you're a vConsole customer, we no longer provide the live trainings. However, you can get the recorded training still. If you go under support, vConsole support, and then you scroll down under getting started. The advanced admin training, that is the training for the for admins for the vConsole. And then down below, we have all the guides for the various features and VoIP phones. Similarly, on Dash, we have videos here. The new user training is actually the full training that we cover here. And then, again, down below, we have the various guides that we go through things. And let me... Okay. All right. All right, so to log in, again, mouse over support, click on PBX login. So for Dash customers, your login is this first one right here. Down right below that, we have the VirtualPBX web phone. So this is a VoIP device for our Dash customers. It makes use of your browser, specifically Chrome and Firefox, on a laptop or desktop computer. You have to have an internet connection. But then you can use your browser to make and receive calls. So this would count as a device. It is a VoIP device. And right now, it only works on the desktop versions of Chrome and Firefox. Our engineers are working to have this work with Safari and Microsoft Edge, although I don't have an ETA on either of those. And then at the very bottom here, this is the login for the vConsole. But since we're on Dash, go ahead and click on that. All right. So your Dash login is your email address, your password, and then your company name. If you ever forget, you have your Forgot Info link, and then you click on Sign In. And it takes a little while to load. That's fairly normal. And then you're taken to our dashboard. All right, on your dashboard, you have your users. So these are your, what I refer to as fully functional users. These are people who make and receive phone calls. They can have a variety of devices. So any kind of VoIP phone, soft phone, or the web phone app. They can also receive calls on a cell phone or a landline. Below them, you have agents. Agents are specific to ACDQs. So these are people who typically are just receiving calls, and they're restricted to only VoIP phones. Now, another thing, a difference between agents and users. Users have features like call forwarding. So they could, they typically use a VoIP phone. They can, hey, I'm going to be away from my desk, forward calls to their cell phone, right? That's a temporary thing that they can set up on their own. They have things like hot desking. So if you're in a shared office environment and swapping desks and phones, they can get their calls at the phone that they're sitting at. Things of that nature. Agents, they have voicemail, and that's it. They don't have any special features associated with them. Okay, scrolling down a little bit further, we got devices. Basically a breakdown of the devices you have on the account. And then there's a link there for notification of unregistered devices. Basically, these are devices the system doesn't know if they're connected or not. Over here to the right, we have our main numbers. So these are numbers that your customers call to get to your phone system. These numbers all have the same main greeting, and they all route the same way. Now, you can have other phone numbers go directly to an individual user, for example, or to a ring group. That's fine. They're not going to show up on this particular section, though. Your fax box number, this is for incoming faxes, if you're still making use of faxes. Total numbers on the account. Assigned means these are numbers you're using. They're going someplace. Spare numbers, these are numbers you have on the account, but that you're not using, so they don't ring anywhere. And basically, you are still being charged for the spare numbers if you're over your allocation. Basically, usually it's because people like ordered a set of sequential numbers. They're not using them all yet, so they keep the ones spare, or they have numbers that they use for particular campaigns. And then they're like, okay, that campaign's over, then they put in the spare number. So that way they're not getting calls on it when they're not expecting to. And then a breakdown of, in this case, USDID, so US local numbers versus US toll-free numbers. Company directory, these are the users who've elected to be in the user directory, or you as an admin elected them to be in the user directory. The account ID, this is your account number. And if you communicate with us, you can use that number to help us find you. Although typically, if you ever call in or use chat to speak to our support agents, we'll ask you just for the company name, and we'll look you up that way. And then lastly, we have the account realm. This is used for a couple things. If you're faxing out, this is the email domain that is used for faxing out. And then because we use email to fax, it's also used for programming third-party VoIP devices versus an auto-provisioned VoIP device, which we'll get into later. All right, up here at the top, caller ID. This is your basic or your default company caller ID. The system actually wants this filled out. It gives you like a little red banner when you don't have it set up. So you choose your phone number, company caller ID name. So this is text that will be sent out when you make an outbound call on a VoIP phone. You're restricted to 15 characters, including spaces and special characters. That's an industry limit as far as I understand it. So company caller ID name is referred to as CNAME or CNOM. And this is basically supported by carriers in North America. Now, unfortunately, not every carrier in North America supports this, which means if a call routes through a that kind of carrier, the caller ID name information does not get transmitted further down, right? So your typical call in the United States, actually in North America, can go through several different carriers. Sometimes as few as 5, sometimes as many as 20, and some kind of variance in between. So obviously there'll be some who don't support GNAM. It won't go through. Obviously, if one of the carriers is having a maintenance issue or an outage, calls probably won't go through. But if they do go through, CNAME is one of the first things that gets dropped, right? They're more concerned about getting the call through and then the caller ID through, the actual phone number. Last thing to worry about with caller ID name is the device that it's going to, right? Some devices don't have the screen real estate to actually show you the caller ID name, so it won't show up. And in cases where people can program contacts into their phone, if they have your company phone number programmed in their phone, whatever their phone has listed for you is what will show up on the screen, right? We're not going to be able to supersede what the device has already on hand. All right, E911 or enhanced E911. This is for your VoIP phones. For if someone picks up a VoIP phone and calls 911, this is the default address that gets sent to emergency services. We just want to make sure this is correct. Now, you may have remote workers. They can have different 911 information, so for their house versus the company address. Hold music, basically default hold music on the system. You can upload your own, and you would click on the little blue up arrow icon here. The system supports MP3 and .wav formats. MP3 will give you a longer file, because it has a better compression ratio. Right now, the Dash is restricted to 1 megabyte files. A 1 megabyte MP3 is roughly 5 minutes. So it's usually plenty of time. And then hold music on the system. This is for a call that's already gotten through and connected to somebody. And then that user puts someone on hold. This is the default hold music that then plays. Right? Until then, until the call is actually connected, the inbound caller just hears ringing. And then hours actually gets us into one of the subsections of main number, but we'll go ahead and go there. So for new accounts, you start off a 24-hour open office. Most people change that to customized. Put a check mark in front of each day of the week that you're open. Then in the boxes to the right, you put your open hours in 24-hour or military time. And if you scroll down, right down here, if your whole office or store is closed for lunch, you can put check mark here, say, yes, we're closed for lunch, and then enter in your lunch hours. So that way, every day at lunch, the system auto goes into lunch mode. Not something you have to worry about manipulating. All right, we're going to go back up here to main numbers. This basically just shows you your main numbers on your account. And then this one is the one with E911. You can always click on the cog icon here to add E911 to any of your other phone numbers. Another thing about main numbers, there's an option for prepend. This is a feature that makes use of VoIP phones, but allows you to put additional text in front of the caller ID information that gets sent to the VoIP phones on your system. So that way you know, oh, this is calls coming on the Vegas number, or this is calls about the ESPN ad or whatever. Looks like we didn't get anyone showing up today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.